Hi everyone, Aryan here. Welcome in this new video tutorial. Today we are going to create this section here, this matrix section by using Bricks Builder and AutomaticCSS. You can check the description of this video to know more about my setup. So, great, let's start. The first thing to do is of course to jump on Bricks and I'm going to click section here, click on the container and then display grid and grid template columns. I would go with 2. So right click and 2 if you're using Bricks, AutomaticCSS. And then now we have 2 columns, right? So plus button, search for the block. And with the first block, I would call it block left. Block left selected. I'm going to add an image. And yeah, click on the image. Select image and choose your image. I already uploaded this one. And okay, great. So we have the first image here. And now we are going to click on container. And this time I will going to click elements plus button and again block. So we have now a block right. Perfect. With block right selected, we start to add our items. So let me go back to the design. We have this little text here, the title and those elements here. And let me show you how to do that. First of all, I'm going to add 2 divs inside of it. So with block right selected plus, we are going to click div and the first div will be called like text wrapper. Okay. And with text wrapper selected, I'm going to click plus button. I'm going to add 2 headings in this case, 1 and 2. So open up text wrapper, small heading, main heading, or let's call it big heading. Whoops, give me 1 second. Big heading just to make sure. Okay. So now we have the 2 headings. We can also get to the design and copy the text just to make sure that we have the same content. Okay. And then I'm going to copy this. We will do the styling later at the end. Okay, great. So now we have those 2 texts and now I need to add those elements here. So what we need to do here is to add another div. So click on block right with block right selected plus and then search for again div. And now we have another div and we will call it counter wrapper. Okay. Or grid as you want. Maybe counter grid is a little bit better. Okay, and by selecting counter grid, you go on display and you need to select grid. And here I'm going to choose 2 column and then rows 2. And as you can see, we have this element, squared element here, right? Okay, so now we need to add our elements inside of it. And this is pretty easy. So with counters grid selected, I'm going to click on plus button and add another div inside of it. Okay, so click on div. Now I open it and I will call this counter item or counter card as you wish. So I will call it counter item. Let's go here and we have this counter here with this little title. There is a widget actually that we can use from Bricks and you can click on elements, counter, and if you click counter, it adds this cool counter with the animation. So open up the counter item and then click on counter and here we can count to 400. Okay, and as you can see, we can also add a prefix or suffix like plus. Now we have 400 with the plus. Let me check the design and then we have completed project. Of course, I'm going to add some text, suffix, operator, prefix. Okay, so it's basically only a counter. If you want to add some text, you basically need to add like plus element and then you can go on basic text, and of course you can replace this with something better, project completed, and of course you can then style this. So let's see first if the structure is okay. We have the counter, we have the text, we have the counter, we have the text, and this is the counter item. Okay, so what I usually do here when I'm reusing an element like the counter item 4 times, I used to click on BAM. This is an option of AutomaticCSS. Click on BAM, and then here I can apply the classes. Okay, so I can say apply classes, and here now everything has classes, as you can see here. Okay, without having to do it manually like usual. So with the counter item selected, now I can style my items. So I click on the 400. I will click on counter item to activate the class, and go on style. And here on typography, we can change the font size by right click and say, okay, I want this one like an XXL, okay, to make it bigger. Those are even bigger, I think. So let's say I want it a little bit bigger than this. You can use REM or whatever. I'm using AutomaticCSS, so I'm going to make this little calculation, okay, to make it bigger, maybe 1.5. Okay, you just need to play around. 1.3 would be great. And of course, you can set it to left. You can set font weight to something bigger. Oops, this maybe is too much. 600. Let me see the design. Okay, you can style it as you wish. And we can also tell him the color. Give me like the primary color for this. And project completed. You can make it a little bit bolder. So I'm not going to bother about that. So let me just put it on the left and then make it, yeah, let's make it a little bit bolder too. Okay, and this is the result, as you can see. So now we need to add, the spacing is okay. You can change the spacing if you wish by clicking on the counter item and just, going on content, counter item, make sure it's activated, and just tell him to display as flex. And then vertical, and here on row gap, you can choose the gap, okay, of the text and the first item. So for now, I will keep it like that. With counter items selected, I think we can keep it like this. I won't be adding padding because we can do that by setting up a few things. So with this done, we can just, duplicate it. 1, 2, 3. Oops. So let me check what happened here. Yeah, I just duplicate the wrong item. So remove the counter grid. This one is not the item you need to duplicate. You need to open up the counter grid, and here you need to duplicate the counter item 4 times. Okay, great. So now you need to change all the stuff, but we will do it later. We're going now to set up the spacing. So first of all, I want some spacing here. And to do that, block right, style, and before doing that, let's go on the main container. With container selected, I want to go on content and just add a gap. And I would go with XXL, for example, or you can also do it like XL, as you wish. Let's try the L. L looks good. And then you need to go on block right, search for counter grid. And here on counter grid, you need to go on style and tell him to take the width of 100% in this way. And still with counter grid selected, you can go and basically click on content gap, right click and say, okay, I want a L gap between the elements, as you can see. And now it's making this kind of gap. Of course, L is quite a little bit. So let me try with M. And with M looks better. After that, okay, we need to add some spacing between those two divs, okay, by clicking on the block right, and then with block right selected on content row gap, we are adding some row gap, okay, great. Perfect. So block right is set up in this way. Then with block right selected, I will go and click on align main axis center so that this stays to the center. And of course, now we're going to style this very quickly. So this one is a lot smaller. So click on this one, go on style, typography, font size, go with an S, for example, and the color, we can do my primary color. Okay. For this text looks good. Let me see the design. Okay. So in the design, as you can see, this one is taking not much, like horizontally is very, very small. So what we can do here is to actually, there is two ways. Usually what we do is the main container, we can make it less larger. Like by clicking on it, you can go on layout, width, and you change it to like, for example, XL. And as you can see, now it looks a lot similar to the design, right? Of course, depends on your needs. Here, for example, we can also say by clicking on the main container, once we make the change, we can also say, okay, I want a gap, okay, a little bit bigger now. And yeah, maybe it's too big, but you got the point, right? So if I go, whoa. Sorry, if you go to the design here, as you can see, there is a lot of gap, and yeah, you need to play around with the gap. And let's change very quickly those elements here, just to make it a little bit different. I'm going fast, 10, 200. Okay. And, you know, K percentage plus. K percentage. Okay, so we changed everything very quickly. And this one, let's say I want more spacing between those two elements. You need to search for the text wrapper, as you can see. And then again, like always, go on display instead of block, you make it flex, then you make it vertical, and then row gap, you just add some spacing like XS or whatever. And as you can see, we had the final result. You need to change the content, that's all. So let me click also on section. So main section, let's say I want a background for this section only, style, and go on, close the layout, go on background, and background here, you can basically add, you know, your little background color. And yeah, we did it very quickly, right? So we have the same result. Now let's see on mobile how it behaves. As you can see, now we have some problems here. So what I highly suggest is to adapt this image to have 100%, okay? And on the mobile, we'll be changing this. So first of all, let's go here and click on this image here, okay? So with the image selected, go on content, and object fit, you can change it. Let's see. So this one would be a figure, and then I'm going also to make the where is object fit cover, okay? And aspect ratio, you can keep this empty or whatever. But I'm going now on style and go on layout, and height, I will go with 100%. Okay, now if I go here, as you can see, the image is adapting and it's not even compressed, so it's working fine. Let's say on this resolution, okay, I want the spacing smaller. So let's go here, or let's go here, go on container, for example, okay, and container selected, I want to change only for this breakpoint, the gap. So I can say, okay, let's do an M, or let's do an L, for example. And as you can see now, the gap is changed only for this breakpoint. Here it stays the same, okay? And yeah, so now I want that on the mobile version, I get, let's say, a vertical one, not this thing here. So to do that, just click on the container here. As you can see, close everything in. This is the main container. You can click on it and just grid template column, make sure it's 1. And as you can see, ta-da, you have now the image on the top, the content on the bottom. And let's say I want the image on the top, on the bottom, sorry, and the text on the top. Very, very easily, you can click on block left, go on order here on the bottom and say 2. And now we have the text at the beginning and the image after it. Okay, so I usually like it like this, so I would save it in this way, but now you know how to change the order. Now the section is fully responsive, you can play around with it, and I hope that the tutorial was useful. Thanks a lot, subscribe to the channel, like this video if it was useful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.